Fulham have secured their second signing of the summer. Fulham have signed from Arsenal Emile Smith Rowe. A very exciting signing, one that, of course, has dragged on for a few weeks. But the initial report from Mike McGrath came out that Emile Smith Rowe was a key target, almost maybe the key target for Marco Silva this summer, and Fulham have got it over the line. It took a lot of negotiation. Arsenal set their stall out and said 40 million is the price, and Crystal Palace were involved as well, as were Fulham. But the deal has been done at a very reasonable, in my opinion, £27 million plus £7 million in add-ons, and that will be paid across 4 years. Some great negotiation skills from Fulham, yet again with a player from Arsenal after Bert Leno signed a couple of years ago on a very similar sort of negotiation where the fee was much more reduced and there was add-ons. It's a fantastic signing. Let's talk about now what the consequences of that signing means for the look of Marco Silva's team going forward. As we know, Marco Silva's side have travelled to Portugal. They've arrived, and Emile Smith Rowe will be joining up with them at some stage. There was pictures of him earlier today at, I think, Heathrow Airport. So maybe he is flying out there today to join up with his new teammates. So let's talk about Emile Smith Rowe and his position for Arsenal and now the position he might take up at Fulham. So we know Fulham like to play a 4-3-3 formation. They like one holding midfielder, one midfielder slightly further up, and then a 10 just behind the striker with two wingers supporting that striker, obviously in the back four and the goalkeeper. So now Emile Smith Rowe has come into the club. What sort of position is he going to play? So there's a number of options. He could play as the number 10. He could sort of replace or battle with Andres Pereira for that number 10 position. But given that Fulham lost Willian, and it doesn't look like Willian is any closer to signing another one-year deal at Fulham, Smith Rowe might take up that left mid position, left wing position, and team up with Robinson down that left-hand side. That would be interesting. He could also sort of float more centrally, and maybe drift and sort of swap places with Pereira, who could interchange on that left-hand side. But predominantly, I think we'll see Smith Rowe either centrally, just behind the striker, or on that left-hand side for now, just because Pereira is still at the club. Pereira is still a key player for Fulham. But it will be interesting to see, and actually, that those answers to those questions can be found out in the next few days when Fulham do play those two games against Benfica and Sevilla. We might get a better understanding as to where Emile Smith Rowe will occupy himself in this Marco Silva system. But it's a great signing. He's a player who came through the Hale End Arsenal Academy. He broke through in 18-19 for Arsenal, only made 6 appearances, and then he was shipped out on loan to RB Leipzig, where, again, he only made 3 appearances for the German side. He went back to Arsenal, made another 6 appearances in 1920. And then the loan move to Huddersfield was an interesting one, because that was the moment where I think people started to take notice of Smith Rowe. He was playing in the Championship, playing at a lower division of football, and actually was thriving in a Huddersfield team that he scored against Fulham, of course. We remember that in that 3-2 defeat for Huddersfield, the 3-2 win for Fulham. He then came back to Arsenal, and for the next 2 seasons in 2020, 2021 and 2021-2022, so in the first season, he got 33 appearances, 4 goals, 7 assists. And then the next season, 37 appearances, 11 goals and 2 assists. So those are some really good numbers from Smith Rowe. And this was obviously at the stage where Arsenal had Unai Emery, and then they transitioned to having Mikel Arteta. So Arteta maybe wanted to go a different way and didn't quite see Smith Rowe as the main man in Arsenal's team. Because then in the 22-23 season, he only played 14 times and didn't even score. He got 2 assists. And then last season, 19 appearances and just the 1 assist. So as you can tell, in the last 2 seasons, when he's trying to hit sort of the peak of his powers, Smith Rowe's coming and blossoming in his career, he wasn't getting the minutes and the game time he necessarily wanted. Therefore, this summer, it has sort of surfaced that he wants to move. He wants to play more first-team football. And it did feel as though, when you hear the name Emile Smith Rowe wanting to leave Arsenal or wanting to find more first-team football, I would assume he would want to stay in the Premier League. He wanted to stay within the England on the England radar for whoever the new manager comes in for England. But when I saw Crystal Palace linked, I saw Fulham linked, I just thought that sounds about right. I think that is sort of his level. Those sort of progressive clubs like Fulham, like Palace, where he can really kick on. But he chose Fulham. He chose Fulham. He spoke with Marco Silva. Whatever Marco Silva said to Smith Rowe definitely made him keen on the move. And then it was about negotiating that fee. Like I said, £40 million was a lot of money to pay for Emile Smith Rowe, a player who, of course, has been riddled with lots of injuries throughout his career as well. We must mention that. And then, of course, they broke through with an agreement with £27 million and then £7 million, like I say, as add-ons. And, of course, the payments being spread across 4 years. 24 years old. He's got a lot to give. It does remind me of Andres Pereira signing for Fulham. I think this is probably more exciting. I think Smith Rowe has given more in his Arsenal career to get us more excited than Pereira did in his Manchester United career. Obviously, we knew the potential of Pereira, and we've seen it in the last couple of seasons. He's been very, very good. I think Emile Smith Rowe could just be that additional quality in the final third for Fulham, and it is a really big statement signing, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he can do. Fulham now obviously have made two signings, Ryan Sessegnon and Emile Smith Rowe. Whether Sessegnon plays further forward, he plays at left back as a backup for Robinson, we're yet to find out. But Fulham are slowly upgrading the squad. And of course, tomorrow is the first day of August, which means we're just over 2 weeks away from the start of the season. So Emile Smith Rowe has signed for Fulham. It's done and dusted. He is officially a Fulham player. And that is incredibly, incredibly exciting. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of this signing? Arsenal fans, if you're watching, what did you make of Emile Smith Rowe during his time at Arsenal? I know he was very well loved. You know, to see a player get loads of compilations made on Twitter, on YouTube, thanking him for his services to the club from Arsenal fans who genuinely seem to adore him. It's always a sad time for Arsenal fans, but a very exciting time for Fulham fans looking forward to the future. Emile Smith Rowe is a Fulham player. Before we leave, I just want to say, wow, a massive thank you for the last video on of course, we touched on Emile Smith Rowe's medical, and we spoke about Josh King. Josh King obviously now is out in Portugal with the squad, and we got some really good views on the video. So I'm very, very, very grateful. Subscribers, I think we've hit about 280 subscribers. A lot of people are watching but not subscribing. If that's the case, just hit the subscribe button. You'll get notified if you turn the bell on of when I upload, which will be very, very frequently, of course. Lots of stuff to talk about when it comes to Fulham. And of course, the season is approaching, which means there's plenty of discussions to be had, plenty of conversations, plenty of questions to be asking, and definitely some answers that we would like to see in the coming weeks. So thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to see extra content that you won't see on the YouTube channel, content that will come from the press conferences and every Fulham game next season, including under 21s games as well, my Patreon is the best place to find it. It's a £5 a month, and you get daily Fulham content from stuff that you just will not see on YouTube. And it's very unique. It's a unique service. I would love for people to subscribe. We're building a bit of a community on there now. And especially with this Portugal trip coming up, which we're flying out, I'm flying out tomorrow, there's going to be plenty of content on the Patreon that you will not see on YouTube. So please do subscribe. It's going to be a lot of fun this season. There's a lot to discuss. And the Patreon link is at the top of my homepage on this YouTube channel. So thank you so much for not only subscribing, not only for watching, but being a part of this very exciting new community we're building here on YouTube. I can't wait to bring you some more content from Portugal. There will be some YouTube stuff, but most of it will be on Patreon. So if you want to see that and hear from whoever we speak to out there, that is the best place to find that content. My Patreon link, like I say, is at the top of my YouTube homepage. For some reason, it doesn't let me hyperlink it in the description of the videos. That is it. Emile Smith Rowe has signed for Fulham. How incredibly exciting. The next time you see me, I'll be in Portugal. So looking forward to that. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe, and we will speak very, very soon.